Welcome to our Kojiki storytelling series, where we bring to life the ancient myths of Japan. These are the sacred tales recorded over 1,000 years ago, telling how the world was born, how the gods ruled, and how the first emperor of Japan came to be. In this episode, we follow the legendary Eastern expedition of Emperor Jimmu, the founding of Japan's imperial line, and his rule from Kashihara, in present-day Nara Prefecture, the very first capital of Japan. If you enjoy these stories and want to hear more episodes from the Kojiki, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Your journey into Japan's mythic past has just begun. Chapter 21: The Eastward Advance and the Death of Itsuse. The divine prince, Kamiyamato Iwabiko no Mikoto, dwelled in the palace of Takachiho, alongside his elder brother, Itsuse no Mikoto. One day, they spoke. Where in this land can we truly bring peace and rule the world as it should be ruled? We must seek a land to the east and establish our capital there. And so, they set out from Hyuga, journeying toward the land of Tsukushi. When they arrived at USA in the land of Toyo, two local deities, Itsuse and Itsuse-hime, welcomed them. They built a raised palace called Ashi-Hitatsu-agari and offered them sacred food. From there, they moved on to Okada Palace in Tsukushi, where they stayed for 1 year. Then to Takiri Palace in Aki, where they stayed for 7 years. Then to Takashima Palace in Kibi, where they remained for another 8 years. As they journeyed onward, they encountered a mysterious figure riding a turtle's shell, waving his sleeves while fishing in the sea at Hayasudo, the narrow strait between the lands. The prince called out, "Who are you?" The man replied, "I am a god of the land." "Do you know the sea routes?" "Yes, I know them well." "Will you serve me?" "I will serve you." The prince handed him a fishing rod and brought him aboard the ship, naming him Seinetsuhiko. He would later become the ancestor of the rulers of Yamato. Continuing their journey, they passed through Naniwa and dropped anchor at Shirokata port. But there, Tomi no Nagasanobiko, a powerful warlord, was lying in wait, with an army. A fierce battle began. As the fighting erupted, the prince's forces grabbed their shields and disembarked. Because of this moment, the place came to be known as Tatsu, Shield Landing. Even now, it is called Tadizu in Kusaka. In this battle, Itsuse no Mikoto was struck by a terrible arrow from Nagasanobiko. Grimacing in pain, he said, "As a son of the sun god, I should not have faced the enemy head-on, toward the rising sun. That is why I was wounded by the arrow of a lowly man. From now on, we'll circle around and strike with the sun at our backs." They changed course, traveling southward. When they reached the Sea of Chinuno, he washed his wounded hand in the waters. And so, that sea came to be called Chinuno Umi, the Sea of Blood. Eventually, they arrived at Inaminato in the land of Ki. There, though gravely injured, Itsuse stood tall and declared, "Shall I, a noble prince, die at the hands of a dishonorable man?" And yet, his strength failed him. He died at that very spot. His tomb lies in the land of Ki, at Mount Kamiyama. Chapter 22: The Sword Futsunomitama and the Yatagarasu. After turning southward on his journey, Kamiyamato Iwabiko, later known as Emperor Jimmu, arrived in the village of Kumano. As he and his followers moved through the land, a great bear suddenly appeared, flickering in and out of sight, before vanishing into the forest. At that moment, Kamiyamato Iwabiko fell into a strange stupor, losing all awareness. His soldiers, too, collapsed where they stood, overcome by an unseen force. Then, a man named Takakuraji from Kumano appeared. In his hands, he carried a single gleaming sword. He approached the place where the heavenly descendant lay and offered the sword with reverence. As soon as the sword touched him, Iwarbiko rose, his mind clear again. "How long have I been asleep?" he asked, as if waking from a dream. The moment he took the sword in hand, something miraculous happened. The malevolent spirits that haunted the mountains of Kumano were instantly cut down, as if the blade itself dispelled their presence. His men, too, regained consciousness and stood up, no longer burdened by the spell that had bound them. Curious, Iwarbiko asked Takakuraji how he had come to possess such a divine weapon. Takakuraji bowed and answered, "I had a dream. In it, the great gods Amaterasu and Takagi summoned the mighty warrior deity, Takamikazuchi. They said, 'The land of Ashihara no Nakatsukuni is in chaos. Our heavenly descendant is suffering. Since it was you who pacified that land, we ask that you descend again and bring peace.' But Takamikazuchi replied, 'There is no need for me to go. I shall send down the sword that subdued the land, the sacred blade.' This sword is known by many names, Sajifutsu, Mikafutsu, and Futsunomitama. It now resides in the shrine of Isunokami." Takamikazuchi said, "I will drop the sword into the storehouse of Takakuraji, let it fall through the rafters as he sleeps. When he awakens, he will find the sword and offer it to the divine descendant." And so, just as the dream foretold, when I awoke the next morning and looked inside my storehouse, there it was, the sacred sword. And now, I place it in your hands." Then, according to the will of Takagi, another message came. The heavenly descendant must not proceed deeper into these mountains yet. Many wild and violent gods still roam this land. I will send the Yatagarasu, a great three-legged crow from the heavens, to guide your path. Follow where it flies, and it will lead you safely. Obeying this divine guidance, Iwarbiko followed the Yatagarasu through the forests and valleys until he arrived downstream on the Yoshino River. There, he encountered a man using a weir to catch fish. "Who are you?" the heavenly prince asked. "I am a god of the land," the man replied. "My name is Niyamatsu no Ko." This man would later be known as the ancestor of the Ukai fishermen of Ada. Further along the way, a person with a tail emerged from a glowing well. "Who are you?" Iwarbiko asked. "I am a god of the land. My name is Ihika," he answered. He became the ancestor of the noble Yoshino family. As they ventured deeper into the mountains, another tailed man appeared, this one parting solid rock to emerge before them. "And who are you?" "I am Iwashiwake no Ko, a god of the land. I heard the heavenly descendant was coming and came to greet him." He was the forefather of the Kuzu people of Yoshino. Crossing over steep mountains and valleys, Iwarbiko finally reached the land of Yuta. From that day on, the place was known as Yuta no Ukachi, the Pass of Yuta. Chapter 23 The Brothers, Elder Ukashi and Younger Ukashi. In the land of Yuta, there lived two brothers, Elder Ukashi and Younger Ukashi. Kamiyamato Iwarbiko, the divine descendant of the heavenly gods, sent the Yatagarasu, the great three-legged crow, to ask them a simple question. "The child of the heavens has arrived. Will you pledge your loyalty and serve him?" But Elder Ukashi had no intention of serving. Instead, he drew his bow and shot at the divine messenger with a Narakabura arrow, a special arrow that whistles through the air. The Yatagarasu narrowly escaped, and the spot where the arrow landed came to be known as Kaburasaki, the headland of the arrow. Determined to resist, Elder Ukashi tried to rally troops to stand against the heavenly prince. But his call went unanswered, no warriors came. So he chose deception. He pretended to submit, building a grand palace to receive the prince. But within its walls, he laid a deadly trap, hiding a pitfall designed to kill him. Meanwhile, his younger brother, younger Ukashi, came forth to greet Iwabiko with humility and bowed deeply. My brother, Elder Ukashi, rejected your messenger and tried to raise an army against you, he confessed. When he failed, he built a palace to trick you, and now lies in wait with a deadly trap. I have come to reveal the truth. Upon hearing this, Michi no Omi, the ancestor of the Otomo clan, and Okyum, the ancestor of the Kyum clan, confronted Elder Ukashi with scorn. If this palace was truly built to show your loyalty, they said, then you should be the first to enter it. Let us see how true your devotion is. Weapons drawn, blades gleaming, they forced him inside. And there, caught by his own snare, Elder Ukashi perished. They dragged his body from the trap and cut it into pieces, scattering them across the field. From that day forward, the land was known as Yuta no Kihara, the blood field of Yuta. Younger Ukashi then prepared a grand feast for the prince, but rather than keeping it for himself, he offered everything to the soldiers. At that moment, a poem was sung. In the highlands of Yuta, I laid a snare for snipe. But no snipe came. Instead, a great whale was caught. If the old wife asks for food, give her the scraps, just a little. But if the new bride hungers, give her the best, and give her plenty. Hey now, Shiaka. Ah now, Shiaka. This younger Ukashi would become the ancestor of the Mwatorai clan of Yuta, the water-gatherers of old. Chapter 24 The Kume Songs and the March to Kashihara. From there, the divine Prince Kamiyamato Iwabiko pressed on until he arrived at the great cave of Amuro in the land of Osaka. Inside, a horde of fierce warriors, earth-born spirits with tails, called Tsuchigumo, or earth spiders, waited in ambush. Their growls echoed from the rocky walls as they prepared for battle. To confront them, the divine prince devised a clever plan. By his order, a feast was laid before the Tsuchigumo. Many cooks were dispatched, each one armed not just with food, but with a hidden sword at their side. And to every one of them, the prince gave a single instruction. When you hear the song, strike. And then, a song was sung, a battle chant to signal the ambush. In the great earthen chamber of Osaka, many have gathered, swarming within. But we, the fierce warriors of the Kume clan, with swords of stone and blades of bone, will strike them down without mercy. Yes, with swords of stone and blades of bone. Now is the time to strike. With that, the blades were drawn, and the Tsuchigumo were slain to the last. Later, when the prince turned his march toward the land of Tami, to challenge the warrior Lord Tamabiko, he once again called upon the power of song. In the millet fields of the Kume warriors, a single wild leek grows, pungent and strong. Let us rip it out, roots and all. Seize the enemy in a chain, and strike them down. Another song followed. The mountain pepper, planted near the fence by the Kume warriors, burns the mouth. We shall not forget the pain the enemy caused, and we will make them pay. And another, like the small shellfish clinging to the rising stones of the Isec, we will creep and coil around the enemy until we destroy them completely. When the prince fought the brothers Ashiki and Otoshiki, his army grew weary. And so he sang again. Through the trees of Mount Inasa we marched, watching and waiting for our foes. But now, we are hungry. You of the Ukai clan, bring aid to us now. Then came a moment of destiny. A heavenly figure descended, Nijihayahai no Mikoto. He approached the divine prince and spoke. I heard that the child of the heavenly gods had descended to earth. And so I too have come down from the high plane of heaven. He brought with him the sacred treasures, proof of his divine lineage, and pledged his loyalty to Iware-biko. Nijihayahai married Tamabiko's sister, Tamayahime, and from their union was born Omishimaji. Omishimaji would become the ancestor of the powerful clans, the Mononobe, the Hozumi, and the Anin. Thus did Kamiyamato Iware-biko subdue the unruly gods and quell those who defied the will of heaven. In the land of Anibi, at the sacred palace of Kashihara, he brought peace to the land and took up the rule of the realm. He became the first emperor of Japan, Emperor Jimmu. And that palace at Kashihara still stands today, in what is now Nara Prefecture. Chapter 25 Isukeyori-hime, the Divine Bride. While the divine prince, Kamiyamato Iware-biko, was still in the land of Hyuga, he took as his wife a woman named Ahira-hime, sister of Obashi no Kimi of Ada. She bore him 2 sons, Tagishimimi and Kisumimi. But even after that, Iware-biko continued his search for a woman worthy to be his empress. Then Okyum, one of his trusted retainers, spoke. My lord, there is a maiden most excellent. She is said to be a child of the gods. Her name is Sayadatarahime, daughter of Mizoki of Mishima, renowned for her beauty. The god Omananushi of Miwa saw her and was captivated. One day, as she went to relieve herself, the god transformed into a lacquered arrow and floated down the stream that ran through the privy. That arrow entered her body. Frightened, she ran about in confusion. She took the arrow and laid it beside her bed. And in an instant, it turned into a handsome man. That night, they lay together, and she conceived. The daughter born from their union was named Hototatara Isukeyori-hime. Later, the name was changed to Himetatara Isukeyori-hime. For Hototatara contained a word too indecent to speak aloud. That is why she is known as a child of the gods. One day, 7 maidens, including Isukeyori-hime, went out to play in the fields of Takasujino. Okyum caught sight of them and, seeing Isukeyori-hime among them, composed a song and sang it to the emperor. 7 maidens walk through the fields of Yamato. But which one, my lord, shall become your bride? The emperor saw them too, and noted that Isukeyori-hime walked in front of the rest. He responded with a song of his own. Then let the one who walks in front, the eldest of them all, let her be my wife. Okyum relayed the emperor's words to Isukeyori-hime. Looking at Okyum and the tattoos on the corners of his sharp eyes, she was puzzled and sang. You, like the wild sea birds. Why are your eyes marked so fierce and piercing? To this, Okyum replied. Because I long to meet you, dear lady. I've tattooed my eyes to see you clearly. Hearing these words, Isukeyori-hime replied. Then I shall serve the emperor. Her home stood near the banks of the Sai River. The emperor visited her there and spent the night with her. The river was named Saikawa, because the valley was filled with blooming wild lilies, Yamayuri. The old name for these lilies was Sai, and thus the river took its name. Later, when Isukeyori-hime came to the palace, the emperor sang of that night. in a lonely, reed-covered hut, where the thatch of sedge was carefully laid. We two lay together, just the two of us, in peace. From their union were born 3 divine sons: Hikoyai, Kamuyai-mimi, and Kamu-Nanakawa-mimi. Chapter 26: The Treachery of Tagishimimi. After the passing of Emperor Jimmu, his half-brother Tagishimimi took the emperor's widow, Isukeyori-hime, as his wife. But in secret, Tagishimimi plotted a dark betrayal, to kill her 3 sons, the rightful heirs of the emperor. Their mother, Isukeyori-hime, was tormented with sorrow and fear. She could not speak the truth openly. So she sang a song, to warn her sons. From the direction of the Sai River, clouds begin to gather and spread. The leaves on Mount Anibi rustle and tremble. A great wind is about to blow. Then she sang again. At Mount Anibi, even in daylight, the clouds swirl and shift. And as evening falls, the leaves grow restless, signs that a storm is near. Her sons heard the songs, and understood the hidden message. Tagishimimi planned to kill them. Alarmed, they resolved to strike first. The youngest, Kamu-Nanakawa-mimi, said to his elder brother, Kamuyai-mimi, "Elder brother, take up arms and strike him down." Kamuyai-mimi entered, sword in hand. But as he approached, his body trembled. He could not bring himself to deliver the fatal blow. So, Kamu-Nanakawa-mimi took the sword from his brother's hands, entered the chamber, and slew Tagishimimi. For this, he was given a new name. Take Nanakawa-mimi, meaning, brave Nanakawa-mimi. His elder brother then stepped back and said, "Though I am older, I failed to kill our enemy. But you succeeded. Therefore, it is not I who should rule. You, my brother, shall become emperor and govern the realm. I will serve beside you, as the one who tends the sacred rites." Thus, Hikoyai, also known as Kamuyai-mimi, relinquished the throne. And Take Nanakawa-mimi ascended as sovereign. From Kamuyai-mimi descend many noble families. The Mamuta no Muraji, Teshima no Muraji, A no Omi, Chisaki-kobe no Muraji, Sakabe no Muraji, Hai no Kimi, Okita no Kimi, Aso no Kimi. The 3 clan chiefs of Tsukushi. Sasaki no Omi, Sasakaibe no Maitsuko, Ohatsus no Maitsuko, Suk no Atai. The rulers of Io, Shinano, Iwaki in the far north, Naka in Hitachi, Nagasa, Funaki no Atai of Ise, Niwa no Omi of Owari, and Shimada no Omi, among many others. And thus, Kamu-Nanakawa-mimi ruled over the land. As for Emperor Jimmu, his life came to a close at the age of 137 years. His tomb lies to the north of Mount Anibi, at a place called Kashinoo, the ridge of the sacred oak.